Alright guys, so I got a package in today too, but it's all the same package and I'm really excited for this. It's really heavy, but it's going to be really awesome. So let's open it up and I'll show you what I got. Here we got the DeWalt compact router. It's the DWP 611. It is an awesome corded compact router. That goes for package number 2. Here's all the box trash, and here is all the pieces in their boxes. And what I like about this a lot, shipping wise, is that the table comes in 2 separate MDF parts. First thing we got is the paperwork. We'll open that. You got 2 zip ties in there. And we got a welcome to your new desktop CNC mill. Unpack, assemble, download software. All their software is free, which is fantastic. Run a hello world, and then power and some safety. And then the packing list in here. And that's all that comes in that little box. Alright, so going down the list, we got the final assembly with all the brains of the machine. The Y-axis right side, Y-axis left side, XZ assembly that makes the machine go up and down, and then the wiring harness. I'm assuming these are the rails back here since they're long, and probably the rails to underneath the MDF baseboard. Let's open the brains first. That's what matters, right? Here we go. This is the ring that holds the router. Keeps it working. I guess this is a cullet to adjust to a different router. There's the Makita and the DeWalt. I got the DeWalt, so that's the ring for that. Oh, bonus, little red marker in here. That's pretty awesome. Those are fantastic. Little plate, the serial number. Looks like we got a bit that comes inside of it. All the washers, the net, oh, it comes with all the tools that you need to assemble it. That is really nice. Check it out. So this uses much bigger belts than the X-Carve. And so the XL and the XXL uses bigger belts than the regular ones. Got a USB cable, which is really nice. The power supply has a switch on it. This is the brains in here. Inside, we'll have to take that apart to connect it, but there's the power and the USB for the brain. And let's check out what this is. Got a power cable and the power supply, power brick, where this will go into. So those are all the goodies that come inside of the brain. Alright, so we're moving on to the Y-axis right assembly in the box here. And wow. It is a plate fully assembled with all the bearings and where the rails are attached to, with the stepper motor on it, a piece of foam. That's it. It is all assembled, ready to go. The X-Carve is not assembled and ready to go. I had to put every piece onto that one. So this is a welcome surprise. And I'm going to assume, since the y-axis is one way, that on the right side, the left is going to be the exact same. And it is. Fully assembled, ready to go. Left and right y-axis. I don't even have to put that together. That's fantastic. Now let's see how the X and Z assembly is. Is that all together too? So far it's looking fully assembled. Both motors, everything's assembled. Alright, there is some pieces in here. Let's check that out. Let's set this over to the side. What pieces do we have? So we have, I'm not exactly sure what it is. Maybe a homing switch. 2 springs. Something in here. A metal plate with some wiring. Probably raises it up and down. But mostly assembled. I'd say 95% assembled there. So that is pretty awesome as well. Alright, and the final pre-assembled XXL wiring harness. It's got the limit switch, spacer, hardware, drag chain, brackets and hardware, and zip ties and mounts. So let's check out how that comes together. Alright, so on top, I honestly don't know what it is. Bunch of washers, screws, zip ties. Couldn't tell you what it is yet. And this is all the cabling. That makes it work. So the drag chains that already have, wow, this is fantastic and totally different than the X-Carve. The drag chains already come with all the wiring installed through them. You don't have to run that at all. So, and they are really nice. Comes ready to just be plugged in. Again, a total difference from the X-Carve, where every piece came completely in a little box and you had to put it all together. Alright, so we're going to check out these. See what's inside these. I'm not sure, they're not labeled. I'm sure we'll know as soon as we open it. So these are the steel plates for probably the base of the machine. Or we'll attach the MDF base to it. Let's check these out. So here's another plate. Got a few different plates. These actually look all the same though, these plates. I'm pretty sure they are. 3 of the same plates. My guess is that these are the base. These are the front and back. Where the waste board will attach all together. So these are going to be the rails for the sides, where the machine will ride along itself. On the X-Carve, they're called maker slides, based off the maker slide deal. These are just Shapeoko's extrusions. And they are massive. Massive. Super thick piece. It is really heavy. Wow. Compared to Inventables, this is no joke. Inventables X-Carve rails are ridiculous. I could stand on this and there would be no flex. I cannot believe how thick and heavy this is. I think this is like 3 times heavier than one of X-Carve's maker slides. That is impressive. There's not a way to really give you the feeling of how different that is on camera as in real life. I wish there was, because they are serious. That is a serious piece of metal right there. So we got the front, side, and this will be the final side. So here are the two rails for the sides and the front rail for the Z-axis where things will mount to. So where do we go from here? I didn't get instructions in anything. I can only assume I gotta go on their website and follow online instructions. X-Carve was the same way. There was no instructions involved. I had to go to their website and they had a really nice layout. I'm assuming Shapeoko does. So let's go to the computer and check out what we can find. So on the Carbide 3D website, they're gonna have a space called Guides up here. And when you click on that, it will take you to the Nomad or the Shapeoko, putting them together. So we're gonna click on Shapeoko and we're going to start assembling the machine. And I have the XXL, so we'll click on that and it gives us what we need to do. And the first thing we need to do is assemble the bed frame. So I'm about to put the base together, but it's kind of hard to know exactly what screws are going where. It's pretty clear that these are the feet. That's the first part they talk about, but then we get the bolts going in and I'm not exactly sure which one. It's one step up that the X-Carve has over this so far is that each package on there was labeled really well. These packages, some aren't even labeled, so it's kind of a guessing game. But there's not as many pieces put together, so it should be a whole lot easier in that form. Cheers. So I finally got the whole Shapeoko assembled, and it was fairly easy. There was a little bit of an issue with a homing switch I had. Figured that out, and now I'm going to loosen all the bolts and get it aligned and square. So now I've moved the Shapeoko over to where the X-Carve used to sit in its permanent resting space. I have attached the power, and the USB is attached to the Surface Pro 4 M3 version, and let's check out connecting it to the computer. So the first thing we do is head over to their webpage, to the Carbide Updater. We want to make sure that we have the firmware updated as far as we can to Garble version 1.1. So it's support/Carbide Updater, and I'm using a Windows machine, so we're going to click on Windows, and it downloads the Garble Updater. I can get to where my downloads are, and it's a zip file, so we just unzip it, and I've already unzipped it once here. Delete the old ones, go into Garble Updater. There's a Mac OS if you're running Mac, but we're not. Then run Carbide Update. You want to plug in the USB to your computer. If you have the XXL version like I do, find the probe on the Z axis and push and hold it with your finger. Make sure that this is down further before you do that, or this will move a little bit and pinch your finger. So we're going to click on Scan for Machine. It's going to tell you the current Garble version that's on your main board. Mine came with 0.9, so we're going to update to 1.1. It's going to say keep holding the Z limit switch right above your router in with your finger and click yes to update. So click yes, a progress bar appears, and it'll go to 100%. You do not let go of the Z limit switch until it tells you to. It just popped up, Z limit switch can now be released, so I'm going to let that go and click on OK. And it'll give you a successfully updated Garble 1.1. So now we can quit the Garble Updater and we can open Carbide Motion. So here we are in Carbide Motion. I pulled that up. There are two programs. Carbide creates the pattern you want to use, and then Carbide Motion actually sends your pattern to the CNC machine. We're going to click on Connect to Cutter when we're plugged in USB. Once it loads job info, that means it's connected. First thing we want to do is click on Settings. It's touch program too, which is great for my Surface. We want to choose the Shapeoko drop down and choose the Shapeoko that you use. I have the XXL, so we're going to click on XXL, and we're going to send configuration data. So that sends the data to the machine, letting it know that the XXL has homing switches, so it'll enable homing. Then we'll click on jog up here, and it's going to give you an initialize the machine. Press button below to begin homing cycle. Now I have my Surface right in front of the Carbide 3D Shapeoko, and I know that it's going to go back right, so I'm not worried that it's going to hit up here. But usually you don't want anything on here if you're going to do it. But we'll hit continue. It's going to raise up the machine to the limit switches, and then right now it's going to the back right of the machine, which is the opposite way that the X-Carve goes. That goes to the front left when homing. But this is moving to the back right, finding its homing switches. and you can see on the screen it popped up jog position. So it found its own home. That's where it's going to go every time, back right. And from here you can control the machine itself to move where you need it to go. X minus is left, X plus is right, Y plus is back, Y minus is forward, Z plus is the router up, and Z minus is the router down. And you can change the increments on how far it moves each time you push one of these buttons. So right now it's 0.01 millimeters. So if we push Y minus, bring it forward, it moves barely noticeable. We're going to increase that to 0.1 millimeter, and you can hear that it moved just a little bit. We're going to keep going to 1 millimeter. Now it's actually moving a good deal. We're going to go up 1 to where it says fast. So I can hold it here now, and I'm moving the machine as it goes. I'm going to go to the left. You can see it moving. As long as I hold my finger down. To the right, back, forward, the cutter down, the cutter up. And again, you can change how many increments it goes by the increment plus and minus on the right side. Bottom we have set inch or set millimeter. Spindle on and off. This feature will not work with the router, the DeWalt 611 or the Makita because it's got its own onboard things. You're going to have to do that by hand. We can set the 0 where this machine will stop. Clicking on rapid position is a really nice feature that X-Carve does not have in easel. Here's basically the layout of your table. Now if I wanted to go to the back left, which would be the northwest position, I can click on that and it knows exactly where to go on the board, and we'll stop right there. That's a quick way. I can just hit it and go. Let's bring it up right to the center where I had it in the beginning. So we'll click center, and it's coming forward, and we'll stop right in the center. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to use the front ones because it'll hit my surface, but we'll go to the back, north, and you can see the position is actually giving you a mathematical layout on the left side. So you can change the current offsets, and then we'll just hit done because we're done moving it around. Lastly, we have probe. If you click that, they came out with a carbide probe, which is constantly out of stock. It seems that they can't keep it in stock, and I don't have one to show you. But this will help you probe the actual mill down without having to do it by eye. I have one for the X-Carve, and it was worth every penny. So we'll click done on that. Finally, there's an orange button. Click done. We've jogged it all we wanted. From here you have the run command. It will show you if we are running, actually cutting something, the progress bar, what line of the G code it's running. You can pause it, start it, stop it, increase and decrease the feed rate while it's running, which is a feature that easel and X-Carve does not have. And feed rate is tough when you're new because you don't know exactly the feed rates of things you've never used. So if you realize you're going too slow in the middle of a job and you can speed it up, you don't have to start the job over, which is a huge plus. This is a really, really nice feature. You have MDI up top. You can enter G code that was made in some different file. You can send it directly to your machine. Then we have settings like we went into before. Open log, enter SparkFun code. I do not know what that is. Choosing your Shapeoko version, sending the configuration data. This will tell you what all specs of your machine you have. I have the Shapeoko 3. We have Garble version 1.1F. That's current as December 1st, 2017, the day I'm filming it. SparkFun activation is 0. Again, I don't know what that is. And then the table X and Y value, how big your table is. Going back to info and load, this would load something from Carbide Create into the machine to start cutting. So that's your Carbide Motion. That's how you control the machine. Next thing we want to run after that is the Hello World program. In this, we're going to just take a simple piece of paper, put it down on our table. and then use the Shapeoko to, without a bit, we're going to put a marker that comes with it to test out if we did it right. We're going to run this pattern. It'll draw Shapeoko out. So if you go to the tutorials Hello World, it will give you a download of the Shapeoko 3 Hello World link. So we'll download that to your desktop. Then we're going to go over the Shapeoko, take a piece of paper, tape it down, and write Hello World on it. So they provide 2 zip ties. And they also provide a Rev marker that has Carbide 3D logo on it. That's a really, really nice, tiny touch. These are probably the best markers out there. So we're gonna take that, take that out. I'm gonna use 3 rubber bands instead of the zip ties. And then we're just gonna slide the pen up the front. I'm using the little groove on the the router itself, kind of to help secure it. That way, and I pushed it all the way up against there. That way, it is not going anywhere. So we got that attached. Let's get to the next step. From here, we're going to set 0. We're going to clear all the offsets. 0 all, and hit done, because we want to set a 0 differently. Once we do that, you're going to jog the machine to the front corner of the paper. You're going to push the Y and X plus and minus buttons to jog that machine to set where it's going to start in the lower left. So let's go do that. So I'm just going to jog that to the lower left. I'm changing the increment to fast, so it'll just follow my finger. So this is Y minus, X minus to move it to the left, Z minus. Now I'm changing down to 1 increment to get a little closer, to fine adjust where we're going. If this was a piece of wood or a carving, we'd be a little bit more concerned, but right now we're not. So we're going to get about there. From here, we need to 0 the machine. So we're going to click on Set 0. We're going to clear all offsets, 0 all, and hit Done. We've just told the machine, this is where I need you to start the program. So that's a really important step. Once we get there, we're just going to go to Info and Load. Oh, we got to hit Done first, sorry. Info and Load. We're going to load a new file. We're going to pick where our Hello World file is. We're going to pick box art, box logo, NC. Hit Open. Now the Toolpath Extents for X, Y, and Z, this tells you how far the toolpaths will actually make the machine travel in millimeters right now. So once we're there, we're going to click on Run, and we're going to hit Start, and it should start writing the Hello World program. Say continue. Oh no! It isn't down far enough. Bummer. You're going to notice I run the Hello World file 4 times. I wanted to show that to you. I made a mistake. You can see that the cardboard that I put it on wasn't flat, and I used it for spray painting. So it wasn't a flat surface. I didn't attach it flat either to the base. I mean, flat is flat. Also, the paper I put on it wasn't flat either. So it's really important to make sure you have a flat surface. I didn't understand what was happening, so I stopped it and tried it a few times.
So in this one you'll see that the thing is gone, and now I'm using a pencil. That's because I crushed the tip of the marker, so I tried using a pencil. It was working better and getting a finer detail, but again the left side was marking and the right side wasn't, because it wasn't quite flat.
Come look!
And in all my videos you're going to hear my kids in the background. I can barely keep them out of the shop, and I don't really want to. So if you're questioning what that was, it's my son. He wants to be involved and I let him.
Must be thinner over there than it is on that side.
Alright, my last try. I tried taking the cardboard out and writing. Worked better. The pencil was moving around. I really should have used the zip ties, because you can see the S and the H didn't really come out right. But still wasn't right. So this was my last try on the fourth one. I stopped and gave up for the day. Since then, I have figured it out. I cut wood and it's flat as can be, so it works well. I'll probably go back and rerun this at some point.
That is good.
So there's my first part of the Shapeoko CNC home shop grade mill. I know I didn't get to any cutting, and that really wasn't what this first video was about. It was really about taking this apart, seeing what's inside, putting it together, and getting that first initial hello world run. In the next part of the series, I'm going to go into greater detail about the difference between the X-Carve and the Shapeoko 3. I'm going to try to show you from a layman's perspective, because I am definitely a beginner in this stuff, my views on it. I am absolutely a beginner in the CNC world, but if you want to get into something more technical, I recommend checking out this guy's channel. He is a Shapeoko VIP, and there's a reason why. Right now he's at NASA helping with launches, I guess. But he will give you the in-depth specs that I can't give you. I am totally giving you something as a view from somebody coming from absolutely no information about CNCs and jumping right in, wanting something in your shop that's more accurate than a jigsaw and your own hands. I'm trying to help you guys out if you're in the same boat like I was, which is better for you. But if you want to get into the specs in detail that's probably over my head, check out his channel. If you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That way, if you're interested in the next part of this series, you'll know exactly when I post it. If you like this video, make sure to hit